We are back with more of our conversation with Amal and George Clooney. Look at the way these two look at each other. I can't get over this. The power couple joined us in studio on a very big day for them. It was their 8th wedding anniversary.
Amal Clooney has walked away and Hollywood is in pieces. The couple we thought was untouchable, George and Amal Clooney, is now facing a heart-wrenching end to their story. Amal, the brilliant and fearless human rights lawyer, has made a decision that will shatter everything: her marriage, her family, and the life they built. George, Hollywood's eternal charmer, couldn't hold back the tears as he shared the devastating news. Tune in to the shocking moment that ripped apart their fairy tale life. The end of a Hollywood love story. George has always been that guy in Hollywood, suave, witty, effortlessly cool. Then along came Amal, a human rights lawyer who could outshine any red carpet moment with her intelligence alone. Together they were unstoppable, until now. George recently dropped a bombshell announcement about Amal that has turned heads and brought a surprising twist to their fairy tale. But what George revealed wasn't just shocking, it's the kind of secret that could change everything we thought we knew about their perfect life. During a charity event, because of course it had to happen in front of cameras, George opened up in a way we're not used to seeing. He wasn't his usual composed self, he was emotional, raw, and on the verge of tears. And trust me, when George Clooney gets emotional, you know it's serious. His wife has made a decision that's going to change everything. She's decided to step away, not just from George, but from the life they've built together. Cue the gasps. Her work as a human rights lawyer has always been her passion, but it seems like that passion has grown so intense that something had to give. And unfortunately, that something is her marriage. Before you roll your eyes and think, another Hollywood breakup, let's talk about why this one hits differently. George and his wife weren't just any couple. They weren't splashed across gossip columns for drama. They were a class act, a rare power duo who seemed to have it all figured out. Even their kids, twins Ella and Alexander, added to their perfect picture. But behind the scenes, things were falling apart. She has always been a force to reckon with. She's taken on cases that most lawyers would run from, battling for justice in ways that make the rest of us look like slackers. Her work with the United Nations and high-profile human rights cases has been nothing short of extraordinary. But as we're now learning, that level of dedication comes with a price. Her responsibilities have grown so demanding that balancing her career with family life has become impossible. In a candid moment before this news broke, she admitted to close friends that she felt like she was being pulled in too many directions. The stress of trying to be a top-tier lawyer, a supportive wife, and a present mom was eating away at her. And honestly, who can blame her? The woman is human after all. She realized she couldn't keep splitting herself in a million ways without losing something. And in this case, it was her marriage. For George, this is devastating. Here's a man who spent decades as Hollywood's most eligible bachelor, only to fall head over heels for her and settle into family life. And now, it's all slipping away. In his announcement, George made it clear just how much he respects and admires her. He praised her strength, her intellect, and her drive. But you could tell this wasn't the ending he wanted. What's wild is that no one saw this coming. George and his wife seemed untouchable. They were the couple who balanced it all: careers, kids, glamour, and genuine love. But behind closed doors, their lives were a different story. Her growing responsibilities meant more time away, more stress, and less connection. And even though George is supportive, the cracks were becoming impossible to ignore. Here's the thing about Hollywood love stories: they're never as perfect as they seem. George and his wife were the exception for so long that it's hard to accept they might be facing an ending. It's a reminder that even the most glamorous lives are still lives, messy, complicated, and filled with tough choices. This isn't just about one couple. It's about the pressures of modern relationships, especially when both partners are at the top of their game. Her work isn't just a job, it's a calling. And George, as supportive as he's been, has a life and career of his own. Sometimes even love isn't enough to make it all fit. As for their future, only time will tell. Maybe they'll find their way back to each other. Maybe this is the start of 2 incredible solo chapters. Either way, it's a lesson in how even the brightest stars can find themselves in the dark. To dive deeper into what this all means, let's look at how her career has shaped her life. Being a leading human rights lawyer isn't just about arguing cases in court. It involves relentless research, international travel, high-stakes negotiations, and often personal risk. She has been known to work around the clock, often juggling multiple cases that demand her undivided attention. Her work on behalf of clients like Nadia Murad, a Yazidi activist and Nobel laureate, highlights the immense pressure she's under to deliver justice in some of the world's most challenging cases. Imagine the toll this takes on a family. While George has been busy with his own projects, directing, producing, and acting, she has been crisscrossing the globe, often spending weeks away from home. This kind of lifestyle isn't for the faint of heart. It's no surprise that it began to strain their relationship. Even with a supportive partner like George, the physical and emotional distance can't be ignored. On top of that, she has always been vocal about the importance of her work. In interviews, she's talked about how deeply she feels the responsibility to advocate for those who can't fight for themselves. It's a noble cause, but it's also an all-consuming one. For her, stepping back from her career was never an option. And for George, understanding this has likely been both inspiring and incredibly difficult. The couple's twins, Ella and Alexander, are also a significant part of this story. As young children, they need both their parents. George has often spoken about how becoming a father changed him, making him more grounded and focused on family. But with her demanding schedule, the balance has been hard to maintain. While they've done their best to shield their kids from the spotlight, the challenges of parenting in such a high-pressure environment can't be underestimated. There's also the public scrutiny. Being George and his wife means living under a microscope. Every decision they make, every event they attend, and every word they say is analyzed and dissected. This level of attention can be exhausting, even for a couple as poised as they are. The pressure to maintain a perfect image while dealing with personal struggles must have added another layer of difficulty. Friends close to the couple have shared that this decision wasn't made lightly. She agonized over it, weighing her responsibilities as a lawyer, a mother, and a wife. George, too, has been deeply affected, struggling to reconcile his love for her with the reality of their situation. It's a heartbreaking scenario where there are no villains, just two people trying to navigate incredibly complex lives. As their paths diverge, the journey ahead for both promises to redefine what they once thought unshakable.